Hey guys, in this month's Historical Fiction 101, I'm going to be reviewing Sanditon. So, before I head into my thoughts and feelings on Sanditon, I'm going to try my best to avoid spoilers. I don't really want to sit and talk about spoilers or anything because this video would be kind of long. But yeah, if you guys have watched Sanditon and you would love to talk about spoilers, please talk about them with me in the comments below because I would absolutely love to talk about spoilers because we gotta talk about that ending. Who's upset? Who's upset about that ending? But yeah. I'm going to be looking at my notes here to help this video go a little quicker, you guys. So, yeah, Sanditon, you guys. If you're not aware of what the hell Sanditon even is, this was actually a book by Jane Austen that was actually unpublished. Her final book that she didn't get to publish. She died, Jane Austen died like a couple months after kind of stopping with this novel. She wrote 11 chapters. She managed to write 11 chapters, but then she got sick, and then, yeah, 4 months later, she died. So Sanditon never got to be finished. Yeah, guys, we have no idea how it would have ended, but yeah, there's always been lots of speculation, you know, where it could have gone, and yeah, all sorts of adaptations over the years. So yeah, this adaptation of Sanditon, it is a 8-part series, initially put out by ITV over in the UK, and then over here on PBS. It just finished up on PBS here, because yeah, it did air like in 2019 in the UK. But yeah, I just now got to it, you guys, and I freaking loved it. So yeah, 8-part series, based, like I said, based off of Jane Austen's unpublished novel. And I got the plot summary on IMDb, and the plot summary goes as follows. We follow Charlotte Haywood, who moves from her home to Sanditon, which is a fishing village attempting to reinvent itself as a seaside resort. So yeah, Charlotte Haywood, she just comes from, you know, very humble background and beginnings, a really small village and whatnot, where not much is going on. And yeah, she gets this great opportunity and invitation to go to Sanditon, which is by a beach, and yeah, there's just so much going on. There's so much drama and craziness and just lots of people and color and vibrancy and whatnot. So yeah, you can kind of imagine where everything's gonna go in there. And yeah, you guys, I loved this. Prior to even watching this mini-series, I didn't really know anything about Sanditon. I kind of knew about Sanditon from name only, and I knew that it was an unpublished novel by Jane Austen. But yeah, I didn't know anything else about it. You know, I've not seen any other type of adaptations, whether that be through film or television or books or anything. You know, I've not gotten into any other adaptation of any sort. So yeah, this was all new, brand new to me. The thing is, I freaking loved it. I really loved it. It's like it definitely felt like something by Jane Austen to me. It felt like something by Jane Austen, but yeah, also just taking some liberties and some, you know, some creative touches to kind of, you know, almost not modernize it. You know, that's not what I really mean, but you know, kind of modernize it in a sense to make it relatable to a modern audience, I suppose, you know, while sticking to being in the 1800s. And the thing is about Sanditon, there's something about it. It's a very sexy and daring production, considering this is Jane Austen. When you think of something from Jane Austen, you think of just kind of prim and proper and fancy and nothing too terribly sexy or risque, you know what I mean? It's all very tame and laid back almost. And yeah, this is actually pretty sexy, you guys. Sanditon is pretty sexy. There is a couple instances of some nudity, like you see like some male butts. There is a few instances of nudity. I do think the characters curse a few times. I want to say there's a few instances of cursing. It's very suggestive. It's very highly suggestive with the writing, the people who wrote this show, it's very highly suggestive and very just sexy and whatnot, which I wasn't expecting. You know, I was just expecting this to be kind of something like Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility, you know, kind of following very much in that similar vein, you know. And yeah, it really goes above and beyond, you know, what I was kind of expecting. And yeah, you may or may not like that sort of thing. It just depends on what you love about Austen. You know, what do you love about Jane Austen and her stories and her storytelling and characters? Because yeah, a lot of these characters as well, a lot of these characters aren't very likable, you guys, which I was also kind of surprised about. A lot of them, I was like, oh god, these people are kind of irritating, but it's like, I love them. You know, I still love them, I still sympathize, which is important. So yeah, if you have a certain image of a Jane Austen period drama floating around in your head, kind of get that out of your head, because you're partially going to get that, but then you're partially going to get something a little bit more sexy. You guys, a little bit more sexy and kind of like, ooh, I'm loving this. And I mentioned the kind of the ending earlier. That if you have seen the show, we got to talk about that ending. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about spoilers. I'm going to avoid spoilers as best I can. But I think something you do need to know, something that's very important in regards to the ending of this miniseries, without spoiling anything, you may be kind of a little depressed and upset by the ending of this miniseries. You know, Jane Austen, her books typically go a certain way. Her heroes and her heroines go a certain way. They get a specific sort of outcome. And yeah, when you're reading Jane Austen, you're expecting a certain outcome and you're expecting a feel-good kind of ending. But yeah, the ending of this miniseries, it kind of almost subverts what you're expecting. If that makes sense, you're kind of expecting a certain ending for this miniseries, but you don't really get the standard Jane Austen ending. So it's very difficult to talk about the ending without totally going into spoilers, I suppose. So yeah, I think it's important to note that if you think you're just going to be horribly disappointed by this ending, you might not want to watch this. You know, you might not want to watch it if you feel like it's going to waste your time, you know. But me personally, the ending didn't bother me. I mean, I was upset, obviously. I was upset with the ending, but it didn't totally upset me to the point that I was so frustrated with it that I hated the whole miniseries. You know, the ending did not ruin the whole miniseries for me like it did some people. Because yeah, this whole miniseries, I think it's just very well done from start to finish. It's very humorous and lively and fun. Yeah, full of standard Jane Austen drama, of course, with all the couples. And yeah, you know, Jane Austen, she loves to play with misunderstanding and miscommunication, and that's a big thing of Sanditon, is people not communicating, people having misunderstandings. And yeah, our leading character, Charlotte, like I said, she comes from a small town, and she has certain ideas and certain notions, and she makes quick assumptions about people, and that really strikes the ire of some people. So it is. A lot of this narrative, it has to do with, you know, making assumptions, and there's something about it that does make me think of Pride and Prejudice. You know, those similar themes of people having pride, people having prejudices. You know, it's very similar to something like that. So I do want to run down the cast really quickly, because I think Sanditon, this production, has such a brilliant cast, you guys. Starting with Rose Williams, who plays Charlotte Haywood. I wasn't sure what to expect with Rose Williams. The last thing I watched Rose Williams in is she was a supporting character in the CW show Reign. And sometimes I just didn't feel like her acting was that good on Reign. So I was a little concerned heading into this. Her performance and her acting in this was just outstanding, and she really carries this whole show, you know. She's practically in just about every scene almost. So I loved Rose Williams as Charlotte Haywood. Charlotte is just so fun and lively, and she does. She has her moments of being naive, but that's her journey as a character, and this whole series is her journey of really coming to understand who she is, learning about other people, how to talk to other people. And yeah, don't just make assumptions, because yeah, a lot of times when she's kind of making assumptions and talking to people, I mean, it's all in good fun, and it's not really harmful, but it comes across that way to other people. So it is. It's just fun watching Charlotte's journey as she really grows into her own and really holds strong to her values and her opinions. And yeah, she doesn't care for anybody telling her what to do. She doesn't like other people being bullied. Yeah, she really sees the potential in people, and that's one of the great things about her character. And then yeah, Theo James, you guys. Theo James is Sydney Parker. Oh my freaking god. If you don't want to watch this miniseries, at least watch it for Theo James, you guys. My freaking god. I love Theo James in this. His acting was amazing. He looked particularly fine, you guys, in the Regency era clothing. Hell yes. And yeah, him and Charlotte Haywood, you guys. The Sydney Parker and Charlotte Haywood. The chemistry is off the charts. It is insane. And the thing is, they don't initially get along, They don't initially get along. They kind of initially just hate each other. They despise each other. Yeah, if you thought the relationship between Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice, if you thought that was pretty intense initially, get that out of your head. Sydney Parker and Charlotte Haywood, they downright despise each other initially. And it's just so fun over the course of the miniseries seeing them try to unravel the other. The two of them just don't understand the other, and it's really fun seeing them unravel each other, learn to understand each other, and yeah, get away from their first impressions, get away from their assumptions of the other. And yeah, this is the love story, you guys. This is the love story that you're rooting for from start to finish with this entire mini-series. And yeah, it's just there's moments it's like, are they ever going to get together? Is it a possibility? Or are there differences just too much, So yeah, Theo James, you guys, he was just spectacular in this. I loved him. And then next up we have Charlotte Spencer, who plays Esther Denham. Esther is kind of your villainess in this story. But I think she's a very highly sympathetic villainess, and she kind of merges more into a heroine, I think. Esther, her and her brother, they are falling on hard times. They're trying to ensure their future wealth, because yeah, they have a certain lifestyle they live. They don't want to lose their lifestyle. And yeah, Esther is just no nonsense. She could come across as bitchy and unlikable, but you're rooting for her at the end of the day, because it's like you see that she's lost inside, you see that she's lonely inside, and she just needs somebody, she just needs the right somebody. And then, yes, speaking of Esther, we have her brother, Edward Denham, played by Jack Fox. Jack Fox, dear Lord, he was fantastic. I've seen him in one other show, and seriously, Riviera. Has anybody seen Riviera? Jack Fox is also in Riviera, and he plays an evil, conniving brother in that as well, with some possible hints of incest going on, you guys. I feel like Jack Fox has been typecast as incestuous brother. But yeah, Jack Fox is Edward Denham. Oh my god, he was fantastic. He's definitely the foil to just every character going on in this show, and he was absolutely brilliant. And then we have Crystal Clark, who plays Miss Lamb. This was unexpected, you guys. Like I said, I knew nothing about Sanditon. Apparently, Jane Austen, all of Jane Austen's novels, they're all about kind of either wealthy to middle class white people, essentially. And with Miss Lamb is a wealthy woman of color, you guys. And at first I was like, is this just something made up for the show? I was like, is this just something made up for the show? But it's not. Jane Austen had this character in her original manuscript, a wealthy woman of color. And that's just fascinating, you guys. That's so fascinating. It's a shame that Jane Austen didn't get to finish the novel so we could kind of see where this story with Miss Lamb would kind of go, you know? And yeah, Crystal Clark was so amazing with this role. She plays Miss Lamb with such vulnerability, and pride, and yeah, like, I don't want anybody to tell me what to do, but at the same time, I'm in no situation to boss people around. You know, just because just because I have money, you know, she's still a woman of color. You know, she's a woman of color with money, and that doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. People still abuse her and use her, and it's just, she's such a fascinating character, you guys. So good. And then we have Chris Marshall, who plays Tom Parker. Chris Marshall, he was like that goofy guy from Love Actually, who was like heading to America just because he wanted to sleep with ladies. It's just so funny to see him in this role where he's serious, he's married, he's older in this. I loved it though. But yeah, Tom Parker, played by Chris Marshall. Tom Parker just so good. He's the guy building up Sanditon, trying to turn it into a resort, but yeah, falling on some monetary issues and whatnot. Not looking too good for Tom Parker. And then we have Mark Stanley, who plays Lord Babington. I freaking love Lord Babington, you guys. He forms like instant love for Esther Denham. Remember, Esther Denham, she don't want to have nothing to do with anybody. She's just looking out for her own and wanting some money. But yeah, Lord Babington, he forms this connection and love for Esther Denham, even though he probably knows he shouldn't, but he's determined to win her, determined to woo her. And yeah, that's the fun of this miniseries. Will he succeed? Will he break Esther Denham's cold heart? And then we have Leo Sutter, who plays Mr. Stringer. This cast is just full of fine, hot men, you guys. It's not a Jane Austen adaptation without fine, hot young men, you guys, with British accents. Yeah, Mr. Stringer, he's part of like the lower class, the working class. He's helping to build Sanditon. His father works there in Sanditon as well, and yeah, they're like, you know, they're the ones like making the buildings and, you know, anything like that needs to be built up and whatnot. And yeah, Mr. Stringer, he's kind of part of this love triangle with Charlotte. Is Charlotte going to be with Sydney? Is she going to be with Mr. Stringer? You kind of like her with both. Who's going to win? Is either one going to win? Who knows? But I loved Mr. Stringer as a character. He was just so sweet, you guys. Mr. Stringer was so sweet and pure. I loved him. And then the last person here, we have Anne Reed. She plays Lady Denham. Lady Denham is this older woman. She is just no nonsense, and she has an attitude on her, and it's like, you go my way or you go the highway. And yeah, Lady Denham, it's like she does not care about anything. Yeah, guys. You get in her way, you need to get out of the way. You say the wrong thing, you're forever on her bad side. Yeah, well, her word is law, essentially. She's kind of the head woman in charge here in Sanditon, essentially. And yeah, it's her money that Tom Parker needs to help solidify his business deals with Sanditon and whatnot. So yeah, you guys, that's a quick rundown of the cast. Very quick. Probably don't make a hell of a lot of sense, but if you've seen the show, maybe you know what I'm talking about. So, you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on Sanditon. I freaking love Sanditon. I really would love to watch it again right this instant. It was just so good. And I'm a sucker for British period dramas, especially anything with Jane Austen. I'm a sucker for that sort of thing. It just gets me all in the good feels. You know, it gets me all in the good feels. I love that. And yeah, these characters were remarkable. It's a shame that Jane Austen never got to finish this book, but yeah, that's the great thing about movies and television and books. You know, it's the great thing that, you know, people can theorize and make suggestions about where the end product could have gone, you know, and that's what this adaptation of Sanditon is doing. It's making those leaps and trying to figure out where characters and stories could have gone, and it's really fascinating. I don't think it's done in such a way that's kind of unnerving or unrealistic, you know. I think a lot of it I could imagine that Jane Austen could have done. you know. But yeah, you guys, have you guys seen this adaptation of Sanditon? What did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Like I said, we gotta talk about that ending down in the comments down below if you've seen it. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, give me a like these other videos. Bye, guys.